Sir, please!
Hey, back off! Stay out of this!
Help! Get him off me!
Let her go!
He slapped her in front of everyone, a quiet waitress who never looked anyone in the eye. The restaurant fell silent, but she didn't cry, she didn't scream, she didn't even defend herself. She just whispered, "You'll regret this." He laughed. After all, he was a billionaire. But 30 minutes later, when a black convoy stopped outside and her father stepped out, the most powerful man in the city realized he had just destroyed his own empire. Stay with me until the end, because what happened next changed not just his fortune, but his heart forever. The night was supposed to be perfect. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above polished marble floors. The most elite restaurant in the city buzzed with wealthy guests dressed in designer suits and sparkling gowns. At the center table sat Victor Hale, the youngest billionaire in the country, known for his ruthless business tactics and colder personality. Across the room, moving quietly between tables, was Alina. She was different from the other waitresses. She never spoke more than necessary. She kept her eyes lowered, her posture straight, and her movements graceful. Many customers assumed she was shy. Some assumed she lacked confidence. None of them knew the truth. Victor noticed her the moment she accidentally brushed his table while serving another guest. A single drop of sparkling water spilled onto his jacket. His jaw tightened. "Are you blind?" he snapped loudly, standing up. The entire restaurant turned silent. I'm sorry, sir," Alina whispered. Her hands trembled, but her voice remained steady. "Sorry?" Victor scoffed. "Do you even know how much this suit costs? You people should be grateful to serve someone like me." The manager rushed over, bowing repeatedly. "Sir, please forgive her. She's new." Victor wasn't satisfied. His ego demanded more. "Look at me when I'm speaking to you," he ordered. Slowly, Alina lifted her eyes. They weren't weak. They weren't afraid. They were calm. Something about that calmness irritated him even more. Before anyone could react, Victor slapped her. The sound echoed through the room like shattered glass. Gasps filled the air. A woman near the entrance covered her mouth. A waiter froze mid-step. Alina stumbled slightly but did not fall. She touched her cheek gently. It turned red, but no tears came. "You'll regret this," she said softly. Victor laughed loudly. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," she replied quietly. "But you don't know who I am." Those words should have meant nothing. But they lingered. Victor threw money onto the table. "That should cover your incompetence." He sat back down as if nothing had happened. But outside the restaurant, black luxury vehicles had already begun lining the street. Chapter 2. 30 minutes later, the doors opened again. The room shifted. It wasn't just because of the man who entered, tall, silver-haired, wearing a simple dark suit, but because of the security detail surrounding him. His presence carried quiet authority. The manager rushed forward, his face pale. "Mr. Rahman, we weren't informed you were visiting tonight." Victor's expression changed. Everyone knew that name. Ibrahim Rahman, the business titan whose companies controlled ports, energy grids, and international trade routes. A man even billionaires respected. A man whose wealth made Victor's fortune look small. But what shook Victor wasn't Ibrahim's presence. It was the direction he walked. Straight toward Alina. She stood near the back, still holding her tray. The powerful man's expression softened instantly. "Alina," he said gently, noticing the red mark on her cheek. "Who did this?" The entire restaurant held its breath. Alina hesitated. "It's nothing, father." "Father." The word landed like thunder. Victor felt the blood drain from his face. Ibrahim Rahman turned slowly toward the room. His calm eyes darkened when they met Victor's. "You?" he asked quietly. Victor forced a laugh. This is a misunderstanding. Ibrahim stepped closer. You struck my daughter? Victor opened his mouth but no sound came out. She works here by choice, Ibrahim continued. She wanted to understand people. To learn humility. To see the world beyond privilege. He looked around the restaurant. And tonight, she learned something important. Alina finally spoke. I learned that money doesn't create class. Victor's pride shattered. I'll apologize, he said quickly. I'll compensate. Ibrahim raised a hand. Compensation doesn't erase character. Then he did something no one expected. He turned to the restaurant owner. Effective immediately, I am buying this establishment. Gasps filled the air again. Victor's company supplied the restaurant's luxury imports. Losing this contract would cost him millions. Ibrahim continued calmly, and I will also be reconsidering the partnership between our corporations. That partnership was the backbone of Victor's expansion plans. Without it, investors would panic. Stocks would fall. Victor realized in that moment that one slap had cost him more than money. It had exposed him. Alina stepped forward. Father, she said softly, don't destroy him. Everyone looked at her in shock. Victor stared at her, confused. She faced him directly now. You humiliated me because you thought I was powerless. But real power doesn't need to humiliate others. Her eyes weren't angry. They were disappointed. That's punishment enough. Ibrahim studied his daughter for a long moment, then nodded slowly. To forgive is strength, he said. He turned to Victor one last time. You have influence. Use it better. The convoy left as quietly as it had arrived. The restaurant remained silent long after. Victor stood alone at his table, untouched glass of wine trembling in his hand. For the first time in years, he felt small. Not because someone richer had challenged him. But because someone kinder had. The next morning, headlines didn't talk about the incident. Ibrahim had made sure of that. Instead, something else happened. Victor visited the restaurant before it opened. He asked to see Alina. When she arrived, he didn't meet her eyes at first. I was wrong, he said quietly. Not because of your father. But because of you. She waited. I built my empire by crushing competition. I thought strength meant dominance. And now, she asked. He looked up. Now I realize strength might mean control, control over yourself. She studied him carefully, searching for arrogance. She found none. Change isn't words, she said. It's actions. Victor nodded. Then watch my actions. Months later, his company launched a foundation funding hospitality workers' education and workplace protection policies. He personally attended seminars on leadership ethics. He began speaking publicly about respect in business environments. People were skeptical at first. But change, when real, speaks slowly and consistently. One evening, nearly a year later, Victor returned to the restaurant, now thriving under Ibrahim's ownership. Alina was still there, but no longer as a waitress. She was part of management, having earned her position through dedication. He approached her table, this time respectfully. No water accidents tonight, he said softly. She allowed herself a small smile. You've improved. He nodded. I had a good teacher. As he left that night, he understood something that had taken him decades to learn. Wealth can build empires. Power can command rooms. But character builds respect. And sometimes, it takes one humiliating moment, to reveal who you truly are, and who you still have the chance to become. If you've stayed until the end, remember this: the way you treat someone with less power than you reveals more about you than any title, any fortune, or any applause ever could.